Welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you've been anywhere near pop culture over the last 20-odd years, you absolutely know the names Jolie and Pitt. It's impossible not to. But today, we're skipping the tabloid drama. Instead, we're digging into how the kids of arguably the most famous couple of the 21st century are literally doing the exact opposite of what everyone expected. They are completely rejecting the Hollywood spotlight to forge their own highly authentic paths. Let's get right into it. So, think about this for a second. What actually happens when your parents are Hollywood's biggest stars? You'd probably assume, right, that you just naturally inherit that spotlight. You step right in front of the cameras like it's a family business. But what happens when that blinding inherited spotlight is exactly the thing you want to run away from? Well, Angelina Jolie actually hit the nail on the head here. She said, they really don't like, if any, the celebrity part of it. Especially Shiloh hates it. It really captures the core irony of our whole explainer today. The children of literally the most photographed faces on planet Earth, yeah, they actively despise the celebrity spotlight. They're not just, indifferent to it, they push back against it hard.
Before we dive into their individual journeys, let's just do a quick refresher on the family timeline. Things moved fast. We start with Maddox adoption in 2001, then Pax in 2003, and Zahara in 2005. Then Shiloh was born in 2006, followed by the twins, Knox and Vivienne, in 2008. So that's 6 kids growing up in a total whirlwind of global media attention. But, as we're going to see, they're defining themselves by their own completely unique passions, not their parents' massive legacy.
Moving on to our first section, Shiloh's secret dance career.
Today, May 27, 2026, is actually a huge milestone. It is Shiloh's 20th birthday. She is officially joining the Roaring Twenties Club. And what's super fascinating is how she's been spending her late teens gearing up for this decade. Honestly, it hasn't been walking red carpets. It's been sweating it out in dance studios.
Seriously, the way she snagged her latest gig is just so cool. Shiloh trains heavily at the Millennium Dance Complex in LA, and when she wanted to dance in K-pop star DeYoung's music video for the song What's a Girl to Do, she didn't just have her people call their people. No nepotism here. She auditioned anonymously, exactly like everybody else. In fact, the agency Starship Entertainment said they had zero clue she was Brad and Angelina's kid until way after filming was done. She booked that job 100% on her own merit.
And, her dad, Brad Pitt, is actually the very first to admit she definitely didn't get those moves from him. He joked in an interview that he's, quote, Mr. Two Left Feet. He was so proud, though, making it totally clear that her undeniable talent is entirely her own. He loves seeing his kids find their own voice, which is exactly what Shiloh is doing on the dance floor. But it goes even deeper than just her career. Shiloh is fiercely, fiercely independent. On her 18th birthday back in 2024, she actually filed a legal petition to drop the Pitt from her surname, officially becoming Shiloh Nouvelle Jolie. I mean, wow, that is a massive statement of personal agency, right? She's quite literally separating her own identity from her father's Hollywood footprint. All right, let's jump to Section 2, Scholars and Dedicated Advocates.
So, the older siblings, Maddox and Zahara, are taking a really serious, intellect-driven route. They're leveraging their platforms for rigorous education and high-level political advocacy, not fame. Maddox is over in South Korea studying biochemistry at Yonsei University. He's operating on a seriously global scale, even attending a White House state dinner in 2023 for the South Korean president. And then there's Zahara. She's at Spelman College, an amazing historically black college, where she joined the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. But it's not just college life for her. She's out there in D.C. advocating for heavy-hitting legislation like the Violence Against Women Act and the Justice for All Reauthorization Act. Talk about putting in the real work.
Next up, Section 3, Thriving Behind the Scenes. The contrast we're looking at here is just stark. On one hand, you have the classic on-screen star path. The center of attention, the face on the billboard, exactly what their parents do. And on the other, you have the behind-the-scenes pro, the support staff, the photographers, the assistants who actually make the creative machinery run. And guess what? The younger kids, they are overwhelmingly picking the gritty, foundational, behind-the-scenes work.
Pax is literally the perfect example of this. He is building a super legitimate, hands-on career in production and design. He started off working as the set photographer on his mom's film, First They Killed My Father.
Then he pivoted to design, helping decorate Atelier Jolie, which is Angelina's fashion collective in New York. And most recently, he was an assistant director on the movie Without Blood over in Italy. He is putting in the heavy lifting, learning the entire filmmaking craft from the ground up. And honestly, it is the exact same vibe with Vivienne. Did you know she was actually the one who convinced her mom to adapt Francis Ford Coppola's The Outsiders for Broadway? But here's the kicker, she didn't demand the lead role. Instead, she volunteered to be her mom's assistant for the play, which went on to win a Tony. Angelina even called her a, quote, tough assistant who takes the job incredibly seriously. She said Vivienne actually reminds her of her own late mother, who also preferred supporting other artists over being the star of the show. Now, even Knox, who, by the way, looks so much like Brad, it's crazy, shares this exact same mindset. Sure, he dabbled a tiny bit in voice acting with his siblings playing Cuckoo in Kung Fu Panda 3, but Angelina said the kids were actually kind of shy about it and really had no genuine interest in being actors. Knox has actively chosen to stay way under the radar instead of chasing that leading man status.
Which brings us to Section 4, Forging Their Own Paths. At the end of the day, both Brad and Angelina's biggest goal for their kids is really simple, giving them the freedom to just figure themselves out, away from the intense glare of their parents' fame. Angelina said it beautifully, "I hope I'm giving them space to figure out who they actually are and something that they want to live for that's authentic to them." And looking at everything we've covered today, I'd say that space is yielding some pretty amazing, incredibly authentic results.
So, as we wrap up this explainer on the totally fascinating Jolie-Pitt family dynamic, I want to leave you with this to think about. What steps are you taking to build a life that's actually true to yourself? Seriously, if 6 kids born into arguably the brightest, most intense spotlight on the planet can successfully carve out their own quiet, authentic passions, what is stopping the rest of us from ignoring outside expectations and doing exactly the same? It's something to think about, right? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, keep forging your own path.